The story begins with Jim, a former US Army Ranger and Gulf War on Terror veteran, sleeping in his car, haunted by PTSD. His girlfriend, Marta, is of Mexican descent, and Jim is determined to marry her and build a life together in the United States. Returning to Los Angeles with this plan, Jim shares his desire with Marta and sets out for the day. The next morning, fully dressed, Jim goes to meet up with his best friend, Mike Alonzo. Mike is facing pressure from his girlfriend, Sylvia, an ambitious young attorney, to secure a job after his previous one was outsourced. Sylvia, genuinely caring for Jim's well-being, has supported him in overcoming alcohol addiction, and now she's determined to help him find employment. As Sylvia leaves the house, she hugs Mike and also encourages Jim to help Mike hand out resumes, but they both decide to grab a morning beer. Things take a turn when Jim, already struggling with a rejection from the LAPD due to a failed psychological profile, gets drunk with Mike. Here we learn these two friends are facing challenges in their pursuit of stability and the complexities of life in Los Angeles. Jim, dealing with frustration, vents his anger on an old man's car by throwing a beer bottle at his car. In an attempt to calm him, Mike suggests applying for a sheriff's position in the LAPD. However, Jim, seeking an escape, decides to get high in the middle of the day. Together, they purchase beer and cigarettes at a supermarket. Their day takes a darker turn when they witness a drug deal, resulting in them stealing the drugs and using them for their enjoyment. Their next stop is Jim's ex-girlfriend Letty's place. Jim grabs her in the corner and tries to kiss her. Jim's attempt to seduce Letty escalates into a confrontation with her current boyfriend Flaco and his friends. In an intense fight, Mike introduces a gun, leading to the robbery of the men's belongings, including marijuana and a handgun, which they plan to sell. Returning home for further celebration, they leave fake messages on Mike's answering machine, posing as companies interested in his resume. Adding to the mess, Jim receives a call from Homeland Security, claiming his job application is accepted, inviting him to the head office for a urine test. Jim, initially thrilled about a job opportunity, becomes anxious when he realizes the potential consequences of his recent drinking and marijuana use during a future urine test. The next day, visiting Mike, he discovers Sylvia's joy over the fake callbacks left on the answering machine. To prepare for the urine test at Homeland Security, Jim attempts various methods, including drinking vinegar. At the office, he engages in a discussion with Agent Richards, who seems aware of Jim's attempt to manipulate the test. Seeking a solution to their financial troubles, Jim and Mike consider selling guns. Their friend Daryl is unable to make the purchase, but suggests connecting with Eddie, who might offer a fair deal. Amidst more drinking and marijuana use, Jim and Mike ask Daryl to make a fake voice message from companies interested in Mike's resume. Hoping to sell the guns, they visit a bar, only to witness a shocking incident. Eddie, a potential buyer, is fatally stabbed, leaving both Jim and Mike disturbed. While Mike is horrified by the violent turn of events, Jim, drawing on his military experience, dismisses it casually, claiming to have seen worse. He drops Mike home, marking a pivotal moment in their journey filled with unexpected challenges and consequences. Returning home drunk, Mike faces Sylvia's frustration over his lack of commitment to finding a job. She tells Mike that it has been a long time since she is paying all the expenses. In an attempt to prove his efforts, Mike plays back the answering machine with the fake callbacks, unknowingly revealing the truth when his friend Daryl's voice is accidentally captured. Sylvia, infuriated by the deception, kicks Mike out, leading him to seek refuge at Jim's place. Jim, having cheated the urine test, receives a call from Agent Richards, offering a position with the Department of Homeland Security. However, the joy is short-lived, as Richards reveals that LAPD discovered Jim's failed polygraph test regarding drug use. Simultaneously, Mike undergoes a job interview and is pleasantly surprised to find his old friend Joe as the interviewer. To his delight, Mike secures the job, marking a positive turn in his fortunes amid the challenges faced by both friends. In a meeting, Jim confesses to marijuana use driven by the LAPD's rejection, leading the superior officers to offer him a role in their anti-narcotics programs for Latin America. Though warned against marrying a foreigner, Jim accepts, reporting to FLETC shortly. Excited about their new jobs, Mike and Jim share the good news, realizing that Mike begins on Monday, while Jim starts on Wednesday. On their way home, they discover a potential buyer, Toussaint, who can buy guns from them. After the transaction, Toussaint persuades them to join a party and indulge in drinks. Jim proposes a spontaneous trip to Mexico, an idea that gains approval from Mike. Eager to share his newfound job with Sylvia, Mike reassures her, leading to a romantic moment between them. Jim, however, interrupts their love, explaining that Mike is accompanying him to Mexico for a weekend getaway, saying it is their last chance to hang out. However, Sylvia opposes the idea, telling Jim that he doesn't like him, and that she knows he'll get Mike drunk, and they both will end up in trouble. Mike at first doesn't agree with Jim after seeing Sylvia happy, but when Jim reminds him of the promise he made for spending boys' night in Mexico, he decides to join Jim and Toussaint on the trip. Sylvia said to Mike if he left her, he might never see her again. Arriving in Mexico, Jim introduces Mike to his girlfriend Marta and her family. The trio enjoys a day at a nearby lake, indulging in more drinks. As night falls, they attend a lively party, where Jim encourages Mike to spend time with an interested girl. Meanwhile, Jim and Marta share a private moment in his car, during which Marta reveals she is pregnant. Jim responds violently, threatening to punch her in the stomach and shoot her in the head, prompting Mike to intervene and urge Toussaint and Jim to return home, witnessing the unsettling scene from a distance. After Jim drives home in an aggressive state, Toussaint encourages him to seek help. Their discussion escalates into a fight, leading Toussaint to exit the car. Later, Jim confesses to Mike that he's involved in transporting 20 kilos of marijuana. Mike got very angry by saying you drove 20 kilos of marijuana across the border, risked his life, and most of all not tell him about all this, demanded to be let out of the car. In a tense moment, Jim pulls out a gun, explaining his desperate need for money to handle bills and financial struggles. Stunned with regret and shedding tears, Jim confronts the disturbing path he's chosen. Moved by sympathy, Mike unwillingly agrees to accompany Jim to the deal. Upon arrival, they discover that one of the buyers, Casper, is associated with Flacco, who happens to be the current boyfriend of Jim's ex-girlfriend, Letty. It's the same Flacco whom Jim and Mike had previously robbed and sold guns to Toussaint. In rising tension, Flacco's gang surrounds Jim, leading to a hostile battle where both Jim and the gang members draw guns, resulting in a tragic death. In self-defense, Jim shoots Flacco, and despite pleas from the others involved, he takes their lives. While attempting to escape, Old Man emerges, firing shots at their car. Jim gets hit in the back and face. As they escape, Jim confesses to Mike that he's not feeling his arms and legs, realizing he's paralyzed. Jim expresses a desire not to die in this condition before reaching the hospital. Urging Mike to take action, Jim encourages him to end his suffering. Overwhelmed with emotions, Mike promises to save his friend's life. Jim further added that he may not be alive until we reach the hospital, and he doesn't want to die like this. He urges Mike to take action and kills him. Mike decides to take action by fulfilling his best friend's wish. He hesitates and cries while taking Jim's gun out. Jim asks him to shoot him in the face and runs away to his girlfriend. Mike fulfills his best friend's heartbreaking wish, saying their farewells as he pulls the trigger and runs away. Back at home, Mike encounters his girlfriend, Sylvia, leaving with a flower in hand. He embraces her, tears streaming down his face.